Growing up in Shanghai, my parents told me three simple rules. Always do the right thing, stay away from danger, and be a good kid. So naturally, I secretly bought a motorcycle, hid it along with my gear at a friend's house for a long time. My parents had absolutely no idea. Looking back now, I don't think I was just being rebellious. I think that motorcycle quietly changed the way I think about everything. This is that story, the story of an ordinary Shanghai kid and the first motorcycle he had to hide from his own family. I was born in the late 1970s. Like most kids back then, life came down to three things. Listen to your parents, listen to your teachers, be a good kid. And good really just mean one thing: do what you were told. That became my rule for everything. Whenever I wasn't sure what to do, I didn't really decide for myself. I asked my parents, and whatever they said, that became the answer. Every now and then, I'd go off script, and it always ended up the same way, getting yelled at or catching that disappointed look. If you grew up anything like this, you already know exactly what I mean. So at 16 or 17, when I decided I want to ride, I already knew what the answer will be before I even asked. There wasn't much point asking. That's exactly why I bought one in secret. The bike, the helmet, all my gear, it all lived at a friend's place. When my dad eventually found out, he told me, "If you ride that thing, I'll break your leg myself." Honestly, I wasn't surprised. I genuinely believe he meant it. Looking back at that kid, I always been the obedient one. At home, at school, everywhere else, I was living inside a script someone else had written for me, and I never once questioned it. But at around 16, 17, you've already got the one foot in the real world. That's when I found the guy selling that bike. And for the first time, I started questioning the script. What actually surprised me wasn't the motorcycle itself. It was what riding slowly taught me. Out on the road, nobody tells you which route to take, when to speed up, when to slow down. Every decision is yours. So is every consequences. Later, as I went through different bikes, I noticed something else. There's no perfect motorcycle. A sport bike is amazing until you are on it all day. A naked bike is fun until the wind beats you up on the highway. Cruiser weren't exciting enough for me. ADVs felt massive every time I hit city traffic. It was never about finding the perfect bike. It was about finding the one that fit me. And I started thinking, maybe life works the same way. There isn't always one right answer. Sometimes there are just different choices for different reasons, and the only way to know which one is yours is to actually make it. That's when I stopped waiting for someone else to hand me the answer. Not because I stopped respecting my parents' judgment, but because I finally started trusting my own. None of this means they were wrong. They grew up in a very different time in China, and everything they taught me came from love. I'm a father myself now, and I get it completely. No parent wants their kid taking the hard way, making the avoidable mistakes. I feel that instinct too, but I also know something now I didn't know back then. Some things in life, nobody can live for you. You have to go through them yourself. Sometimes I wonder, if I'd stayed that obedient kid, would my whole life have turned out differently? I don't know the answer, but I know this, that 17 years old, hitting a motorcycle at his friend's house, he had no idea what he was actually buying. It wasn't just a motorcycle. It was the first time in his life he made a decision that belonged entirely to him.